TalkTainmentRadio.com. We give you a reason to come. The world's greatest radio. We give you a reason to stay. Radio the way it should be heard. You got the power.
The views and opinions expressed are those of the host and guests and not necessarily those of TalkTainmentRadio.com, 3MR Production, its ownership, management, or staff.
We've got the power.
This is The Compensatory Concept with Mr. Neely Fuller, heard exclusively on TalkTainmentRadio.com, the world's greatest radio. Radio the way it should be heard. And now, Mr. Neely Fuller.
If you do not understand white supremacy, which is racism, what it is and how it works, everything else that you understand will only confuse you. Only confuse you. Only confuse you.
This is The Compensatory Concept with Mr. Neely Fuller Jr., heard exclusively on TalkTainmentRadio.com. Radio, the way it should be heard. Whoa, whoa, whoa. They're animals anyway, so let them lose their souls. What does that really mean? And why would a statement like that be put into a major motion picture? And yet, what's so funny is that there was never anyone who came forward and asked questions why. And it seems that some of the worst things that are said about us are often hidden in movies. And that's why it behooves us to study everything. Joining us is Mr. Neely Fuller Jr., the author of 2 classic works. And let me say straight up, good morning, Mr. Fuller. How are you, sir?
I'm still learning.
All right. Mr. Fuller, as we go forward here, we got a little time before the elections and all that, but you know, something we talk about here, not as much as probably as we could, but we do hit it from time to time. And I want to talk about criminal behavior in our community. If we define, you know, we have to look at this definition of crime, because so often we hear terms like soft on crime, high crime neighborhoods, crime infested areas, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And it's always associated primarily with non-white people. And when you look at what they do, while not good, not correct behavior, it is minuscule often in comparison to what some of the real criminal activity is. So I was listening to these guys who, in this movie, who pose themselves as respectable people in a neighborhood, and yet they're involved in some of the worst. They were involved in the worst criminal activity on record. So let's talk about that just for a minute, and then before we get to that, tell everybody the names of your books and how they can get them, and then let's go right into this understanding of this notion of crime in our community and who's the real criminal. Mr. Fuller.
Well, the names of my books that addresses what we're talking about, what you're talking about, it's the United Independent Compensatory Code System Concept. Now, that's described in the book, the definitions for all of those words, the United Independent Compensatory Code System Concept, which is supposed to be a way of an individual person addressing the problems of the victims of racism, because the subtitle of the book is a textbook workbook for thought, speech, and or action for victims of racism. And racism is described as white supremacy. And there is an additional book to the basic book, and that is a compensatory counter-racist codified word guide that even talks about crimes and what is crime and what is a criminal, etc., as a way of people thinking about it as an individual and coming to their own conclusions as to what constitutes a crime and what should constitute a crime, etc., within the framework of the system of racism. So you can get the books by dialing in to your computer the word tiny, TINY.cc// then the word Fuller in capital letters. That's tiny, TINY, .cc/forward, and the word Fuller in capital letters.
Okay. Now, Mr. Fuller, we've been dealing with this notion of crime in our community for quite a while. We've been called criminals. We've had to listen to this. We've had to get, to absorb it, to get beat up by it, and a host of other things. So let me get your perspective on it, Mr. Fuller.
Well, you start with the word crime and criminal. Now, I have on page 81 of the word guide of the Compensatory Counter-Racist Codified Word Guide, showing people how to use words or how to ask questions about words that have to do with race, racism, or counter-racism. And I have here on page 81, use the word crime or criminal with caution. When you start talking about crime, you want to be very cautious about talking about using the word, crime and or criminal. When others use those words, ask for a detailed explanation that you can easily understand. Some questions would be, what exactly is a crime? If you're going to talk about crime, first of all, you want to know what exactly is a crime, what exactly is a criminal. Is a crime a law that has been violated? Is a criminal a person or a creature that has violated a law? Does not every creature in the known universe violate some law? You can ask that question. If you jaywalk, are you a criminal? Well, according to the word crime, yes. So you might say that if a person who crosses the street, if they have ever done it, any time in their entire existence, has that person crossed the person that crossed the street and didn't use the crosswalk, and there is a law somewhere that says you are not supposed to cross the street without using the crosswalk. You cross at the corner. If you had any time in your entire existence crossed the street without using the crosswalk, and now many years later you're on a witness stand or something like that, you might be asked by a prosecutor, have you ever committed a crime? Are you a criminal? Have you ever knowingly done anything that is criminal in violation of the laws? And a person might think back and say, well, yes, on many occasions I have crossed the street in my block, in my neighborhood, to visit my neighbor's house. I just did it the other day, maybe. I walked across the street to take them a cake that I baked. And so I'm now a criminal. I am a criminal if I'm going to tell the truth under oath.
And what's interesting about that, Mr. Fuller, is that laws keep changing all the time. Joining us, sitting in with us, Mr. Fuller, is Earth Jallow. She does an incredible show called Getting Down to Earth. It's aired every Tuesday live at 5 o'clock on Talktainment Radio. And she is someone who is very knowledgeable of your work and has been on shows with you that we've done on Straight Talk Live and other outlets. And so I just wanted to welcome her in. Earth, did you have any thoughts? Because I know you've done shows on criminality and all of these kinds of issues as it relates to what's happening in our community.
Absolutely. Good day, audience. Hey, Mr. Fuller, how you doing?
I'm still learning.
I know that's right. Every day. I think he's right on point with what his analysis is. I mean, we can't get away from that. We are criminalized in everything that we do. I think Mr. Fuller is exactly on point.
And I would say that there is definitely something to what Mr. Fuller is saying. Mr. Fuller, do we ever stop as a black people? Do we ever stop, Mr. Fuller, and think about language and actions? Have we reached the point where we're just totally functioning almost irresponsibly day in and day out, and then people can throw stuff at us and we just go with it? I mean, almost like mindless. What's those things that walk around mindless?
Zombies.
Zombies, yeah, like mindless zombies. Is that where we are, Mr. Fuller?
That's exactly what people who are supposed to be obedient to oppression are supposed to be. I mean, that's the nature of it. If you're going to dominate people and mistreat them for whatever reasons, you want the people that you dominate to be zombie-like, to be robotized, to just do what you tell them to do. In other words, creatures without brains.
Woo!
So,
Wow.
That's heavy.
Wow. I did a show yesterday on the emasculation of the black man. And it's a 4-week series, Mr. Fuller. And, is that what we're seeing, that you break down, you separate the man from the woman, the black man from the woman, and then you break him down. You
make him a criminal.
Yeah, you make him a criminal. Then you get the woman to help to finish demoralizing him. That's what we're doing, ladies. Is that what we're seeing happening to our men, and why we can't get our families back together?
oh, absolutely. If no such thing as family among subject people. If you have people dominant over you who have ill intent, they're not trying to help you, they're not trying to do the correct thing. If they are enjoying the idea of dominating and mistreating. See, this is the thing to focus on. Domination plus mistreatment. You dominate people and you dominate them to mistreat them. Once you get that focused, and the people who decided to set up a system called racism and or white supremacy, they said it's going to be based on the age-old practice of domination plus mistreatment, but it would be on the basis of color. So naturally, when you do that, you say these people are not going to have families. They're not going to have anything except my law. And my law will be whatever I say it is from 1 minute to the next. I'll change it anytime I want to. I'll change it in 5 minutes. I'll change it in 2 seconds if it's for my convenience. Why? Because I'm dominant. And I'm in the business of domination and mistreatment. Racism is about domination and mistreatment based on color. So everything that I do is going to be along that order to give my domination and mistreatment greater and greater strength in all areas of activity, not in some, because if you let something get by you in one area of activity, just like a ball of string, I mean, the whole thing becomes unwound. So you want it nice and tight in every area of activity: economics, education, entertainment, labor, law, politics, religion, sex, and war. So therefore, you have to, if you're going to dominate people, you have to dominate them in all of those areas of activity simultaneously. You can't let anything get by you. And then you have to tailor what people are going to be doing and saying in each one of those areas. In economics, they're going to be doing this. They're going to be doing this, and they're going to be doing that. They're going to go here. They're going to go there. And in education, you're going to teach them what they should know. And the things that they shouldn't know, you're going to hide that from them. And you'll send them to schools and all like that, but you're not going to let them learn but so much. And everything that they learn is supposed to serve your operations.
Right, because they're not teaching us how to amass that type of wealth or to take over the company or to be an entrepreneur. They are specifically teaching our children to work for them. And if you don't get that type of education where you can actually go to work for them, then they'll just send you to prison and you're still working for them for free anyway.
That's what they have set up. That's what they have in mind. So you turn the people and non-white people under the system of white supremacy are supposed to be monsters and monstrosities. Now, what's a monster? Just like a zombie, like a Frankenstein. And a monstrosity, and because it's just two types of people, victims of racism, and that's monsters and monstrosities. The monsters are the people who are roaming the street looking for somebody to rob, looking for somebody to carjack, and all like that. That's when I've turned into a monster. All right, now the other option I have is to be a monstrosity. Now, monstrosity is what I am, Neely Fuller. I'm a monstrosity because the white supremacists don't allow you to be anything else under their system. Now, what's a monstrosity? A person who does things and it looks like what they're doing is making sense, but what they're doing is really supporting the system of racism, but doing it in a refined way. The monster is not doing it in a refined way. These are the people who are going to prison, filling up the prisons for gangbanging, for carjacking, for robbery, for home invasion, they call it, and all like that. Things like that. I mean, brute force, walking the street cursing people out, on the cell phone, I mean, just using every type of curse word that they ever heard. I mean, try to put it in that conversation. Try to squeeze it in there some kind of way. I mean, because, you're just, and letting everybody know that you're doing it by talking loud while you're doing it, walking down the street with a cell phone, and MF this, and the B word, and every kind of word that you ever heard in the English language in the Northwestern Hemisphere, that you can crowd into that.
You know, Mr. Fuller, you created a wording that I want to get into in just a second. When you started talking about these are the products that racism produces, and I want to freeze it right there, and I want to talk about what did you mean by, I mean, it's a classic saying because it has a ring about it that's incredible. So I want you to stay right there, Mr. Fuller, and stay right there, Earth. More to come on the compensatory concept, heard exclusively on TalkTainmentRadio.com.
Are you concerned with what the end of the Mayan calendar on December 21st, 2012 might bring? Do you believe in aliens, UFOs, or things that go bump in the night? Have you ever wondered what a psychic would tell you? Would you like to increase your physical well-being without frightening or harmful side effects? If you answered yes to any of these questions, then join us at the 24th Annual Universal Light Expo on Saturday, October 13th from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. and Sunday, October 14th from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Admission is just $10 per day and includes access to over 100 free lectures, being able to walk a peaceful labyrinth, watching the construction of a Tibetan monk sand mandala, and visiting over 330 booths filled with body, mind, spirit treasures and practitioners. Plus, we will have a sacred music, sacred dance performance on Saturday at 7:30 p.m. For complete details on the weekend, please visit our website at www.universeexpo.com. That's UNIVERSEEXPO.com.
The United Independent Compensatory Code System concept by Neely Fuller is considered as one of the substantial and basic books for understanding and effectively countering racism. Neely Fuller will turn upside down everything you've heard and everything you think you know about racism and how it works. Call area code 202-484-5461. 202-484-5461.
Cutters. Uh-oh.
What are we gonna do now?
Give me the phone. Hello, Jimmy John's. Thank God you made it. I was so hungry I thought I was gonna die.
Jimmy John's, America's sandwich delivery experts.
Nice work, Johnson.
Before the gold, silver, and bronze, it's the red. It's the green and yellow. It's the red, white, and blue. Because at the Olympic Games, it's not the color you go home with that matters. It's the colors you came in. And when colors mean this much, you can only trust them to Tide, proud keeper of the red, white, and blue.
The greatest trick the devil ever pulled was convincing the world he didn't exist.
I'm Tammy. I got your lucky number, heard exclusively on Conversating the AM at 11:11 a.m. Mondays and Fridays. Make sure you tune in for your lucky number. Punch in TalkTainmentRadio.com and click on Listen Live and listen for your lucky number.
We've got the power.
Justice is better than racism.
This is the compensatory concept with Mr. Neely Fuller Jr., heard exclusively on TalkTainmentRadio.com. Radio, the way it should be heard. Sitting alongside of me, with, of course, is Mr. Neely Fuller and Earth Jallow from a wonderful show called Getting Down to Earth, which airs every Tuesday live, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on TalkTainmentRadio.com. Mr. Fuller, you coined a term that was quite interesting. You said that all of the criminal activity, all of the behaviors that black people engage in on this planet, non-white people in particular, you said these are the products. You put it into an economic context, and it was just heavy thinking about it. You said these are the products that racism produces. That was a profound statement. Tell me let's elaborate on that for a minute. What does this statement mean? These are the products that racism produces.
Well, racism itself is the crime of crimes. That's the master crime of the entire universe. There's no criminal operation that's ever been bigger than that. It's modeled really on the Godfather principle, the old Roman Empire principle. You can use a lot of metaphors for it, or examples of it, going all the way back through history. They just took the old royalist system of kings and queens. The king and the emperor can never be wrong about anything, and even when they're right, they're still wrong. I mean, even when they're wrong, they're still right. And there's no such thing as right and wrong. Mm-hmm. I mean, when it comes to the emperor, that's the way it was in ancient times. So the white supremacists, those white people who have chosen to be white supremacists, have taken the old Roman system, you can call it that. There were probably systems even before then. I mean, it just had to do with coming up with ways of mistreating people and getting away with it. That's all it is. Just the same format. I'm right, and you're always wrong, unless I say that you're right. And you're only right if you're helping me in my criminal enterprise, which is mistreating you. If you help me to mistreat you, then you're right. If you're not helping me to mistreat you, then you're wrong. Very simple. There's nothing complicated about that.
Right. So Mr. Fuller, how do we get our people to understand? And I'm not just talking about the average, preaching to the choir types. I'm talking about, the ones who are hurt beyond hurt, the ones who can't hear us, because that is my thing, is trying to, awaken people so that they start to understand what is truly going on around them, so that we can start preparing our children, because our children are even unprepared.
Asking questions. Everything in the universe starts with a question.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Everything in the universe starts with a question. And all so-called progress starts with a question. All problem solving starts with a question.
I like that.
So you just start off with, what is it that you're doing? What is it you want to do? You can just start by asking each individual just that one question. What do you want to do? It's 4 questions, and you can start with that. I mean, because everybody wants to do something every day.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, ants want to do something. Antelopes want to do something. Bears want to do something. Rabbits want to do something. Birds. I mean, the minute they awaken, they want to do something. So they start doing what they want to do, or they'll start trying to do it. So you ask people, young people, old people, doesn't make any difference. Age doesn't matter, because everybody wants to do something. Every organism. What do you want to do? Then the next question is, why do you want to do it? That's key. Why do you want to do this thing that you want to do? I don't care if it's carjacking. Why do you want to do it?
Mm-hmm.
And then the third question is, okay, how do you plan to do it? If you're going to carjack somebody, how do you plan to go about carjacking somebody? Now, you get to the 4th question, and this is the clincher. What do you expect the constructive result to be? After you do this thing that you want to do, you want to do it, you say you want to do it, you say you're going to do it if you can. Okay. So far, so well. Why do you want to do it? How do you plan to do it? And what do you expect the constructive result to be, underlying constructive.
And Mr. Fuller, how do we measure? Because this is always, when I talk about it to people, people keep asking me, what is constructive? How do we measure constructive versus destructive?
By the result, or you'll know once you do it. I mean, you know, when you wind up doing 40 years, you'll say, now, was this constructive? I mean, see, you're right back to the question again. Now, that thing that I wanted to do, did that turn out to be constructive for me? I mean, I carjacked 5 people and got away with it.
Mm-hmm.
But the 6th time, something didn't go well according to my business plan, because carjacking is a business.
Mm.
That's why that 3rd question is very important. How do you plan to do it? Meaning, okay, you're making up a business plan now. You're going to be a professional carjacker. Now, you got to ask yourself a lot of questions, not just how you're going to make 1 or 2 carjackings, because if you're in the carjacking business, you might be in that business for a long time. You might be stuck with that business, like the Corleones. I mean, you know,
and
try to get out, they keep pulling you back in, you know. All right.
And
so
that was the point I was trying to make, Mr. Fuller, through all of this, through the crime thing, is that when you look at the way the so-called straight economy is, then you look at the so-called off-the-books economy, you know, that economy that nobody knows. But yet you see people surviving, you see people spending money, you don't see people rioting in the street. So that means that people are not starving. They're making money. Now, the question is, what is criminal and what is not criminal? How are they making that money? And has white supremacy driven them into those lifestyles purposely?
Absolutely. So you ask yourself another question. Well, I don't want to be a carjacker because I don't think that's going to be a long-term business for me. That will wind up probably with me being dead, trying to outrun a whole fleet of automobiles and helicopters eventually, and running across lawns and whatnot and jumping over fences. That's not what I want to do as a business. Look at it from a standpoint of a business.
Not a good
business. How long
model.
would that business pay?
Mm-hmm.
See what I mean? So you look around and you say, well, there's no decent jobs, you know, and I am required to pay rent, you know, pay a house note or something. What can I do? They haven't prepared me for anything. They told me to do this and do that, and I tried to do it. Nothing seemed to work out. So I'm just out here. What do I do? What you do, since the people who, now this is what I have written, because this is what I would do if I was out on the street with no place to go. I would go to the people who have capital. Now, what do I mean by that? I call it making compensatory investment requests. That term is in the word guide that I have. Now, what does that mean? A lot of people call it begging. And we're looked down on when we beg. But when you are a prisoner of war, you are a beggar. And all of the black people on this planet are prisoners of war. So you always, you know, and what is begging? Begging is asking more than once.
Mm-hmm.
When you ask somebody for something, like Don Corleone did not beg because he had muscle.
Mm-hmm.
See, that's why his lawyer, sitting at the table with that movie producer, said, hey, Don Corleone does not ask twice.
Right.
See, because that would constitute begging. See, when he asks a favor once, he wants an answer right now. And if that answer is not in his favor, he wants to hear about it right now, because he's going to take action behind that.
That's right. He wants to hear bad news.
Yeah, you're going to hear from Luca Brasi.
Mm-hmm.
Right. People who are familiar with the movie would know what that meant.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, but black people are not in that kind of position. So we are in a position of being beggars. And the white supremacists themselves said, you people need to pull yourself up by your bootstraps. You stop being begging. Stop asking for handouts and all like that. If you're a slave, there's nothing else you can do but ask for handouts. See, that's the realistic part of it. They try to con us into saying that there's something incorrect about us. You put us on the slave ships. You're on a slave ship now. The whole world is a slave ship for the non-white people on the planet. We have already been captured. It's not like they're trying to capture us. We are in captivity. We have never been allowed to be anything other than captives. So we always have to ask. And they'll say, well, what do you mean by asking? And some black people will say, oh, no, nobody, I don't ask nobody for nothing. I make it on my own. Oh, no, you're not telling the truth. Now we get to the details, see, because the truth is always in the details. And you say that you got everything on your own. You never asked anybody for anything. All right, let's see if you're telling the truth, because that's the first thing you need when you're discussing solving any problem. What's the truth? You say, well, I have a business of my own. Oh, you got a business of your own that you got on your own, and you're telling me, if I understand it, you didn't ask, even probably beg, which means you asked more than one person for something to open your business. You didn't ask anybody anything. You went over there across the street and took those boards off of that building and said that you were going to run a grocery store, and you didn't ask anybody anything? I don't think so. See what I mean? So we have to be careful about what we say. I pull myself up by my bootstraps. I mean, these old shiftless people around here, I never asked nobody. Nobody never did no favors for me. I got it all on my own. No, the white supremacists made a decision that they will allow you, that they would help you. If they had made a decision not to help you or not allowed you to go over there and take the boards off that building would still be boarded up, and you would still be sitting out in front of it begging for quarters like you were before. You went and asked someone, will you let me take the boards off that building? I think I can make something out of it. And the white supremacists, who own everything, by the way, that's what they call ownership. Really, they stole it all, okay? Because that's how they got their capital. That's how they got the building in the first place. That's how they got the land to build the building on, by taking it from somebody. People who, in the northwestern hemisphere, by their own admission, see, I'm not making a false charge, because when you make charges, you have to back them up. I'm just going by what the white supremacists told me in the 8th grade, indirectly, in the history books. That's what they call them. They said, Neely Fuller, little colored boy, sit down here and study history. I say, okay, what's history? Well, it's a record of the past, and I want you to know about some of the things that I have done in the past. And what I have done is that I took a whole lot of land from some people that I considered simple-minded, ignorant, backward, and made it my land. I killed them. I killed their children. I killed their grandmothers. I killed them. And I forced them on little portions of land that I call reservations. I'll reserve a portion of what I took from you for you, and even on that land, you're not going to be able to do anything except what I say do, which is mostly stay drunk all the time. And that's my history, and I'm proud of it. And I want this little colored boy that I've dragged his ancestors over here to do the work on the land that I took, and I want him to learn it.
And so what we're basically saying is, a product that is produced means that a person is manufactured from the time they are born. They are given, things are put in their heads, their lifestyles are created, their employment, every area of life is structured and created for them. So when they come into the world, they are already formed. It's like when you produce a product for a purpose, like you manufacture and roll a car off of the assembly line. You got everything tightly organized so it fits right into a certain hole, or it wedges right in between, or it can be welded a certain way. and it will function just like you designed it to function. That's what you're meaning when you say we are the products that racism produces.
Absolutely. I was born on a slave ship. Me, personally. The slave ship is the entire planet. That's the way you look at it. Because they have taken over the minds and bodies of the people on the planet. The white supremacists are the most powerful people on the planet. So the most powerful people are the people you have to look to get whatever it is you want, whether you think you're doing that or not. But there are many what you call, quote, unquote, proud black people who have that short-sighted vision who do not see that. They say that I got this. I went to this university, and I studied, and I got this. Who set up the university, sir or ma'am?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, stop and think about what you're saying when you talk about your great degrees that plaster your walls.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
stop and think about who gave you those degrees of knowledge. Now, they call it degrees, meaning I'm not giving you the whole thing.
I'm giving you a degree.
I'm not giving you 360.
Mm-hmm.
360 degrees. I'm giving you portions of what I want you to know in order to serve me.
Stay right there, Mr. Fuller. Stay right there, Earth Jallow. You stay right there. Don't go nowhere. How do we cope with this? Do we get emotional when we see people acting up? What are we supposed to do? We'll talk to Mr. Fuller about the most effective responses when we see the products that racism produces. Stay right there. More to come on the Compensatory Concept, heard exclusively on TalkTainmentRadio.com.
Concerned with what the end of the Mayan calendar on December 21st, 2012 might bring? Do you believe in aliens, UFOs, or things that go bump in the night? Have you ever wondered what a psychic would tell you? Would you like to increase your physical well-being without frightening or harmful side effects? If you answered yes to any of these questions, then join us at the 24th Annual Universal Light Expo on Saturday, October 13th from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. and Sunday, October 14th from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Admission is just $10 per day and includes access to over 100 free lectures, being able to walk a peaceful labyrinth, watching the construction of a Tibetan monk sand mandala, and visiting over 330 booths filled with body, mind, spirit treasures and practitioners. Plus, we will have a sacred music, sacred dance performance on Saturday at 7:30 p.m. For complete details on the weekend, please visit our website at www.universeexpo.com. That's UNIVERSEEXPO.com.
Tom Gilmore lives on a farm. There's a storm on the way, so he's boarding up the windows of his house.
Haley Williams lives in an apartment. It's a beautiful day. She's making her usual monthly donation to the American Red Cross.
Tom doesn't know a tornado will leave his family with no place to go.
Haley doesn't know her gift will help give Tom's family shelter.
When you support the Red Cross, you change a life.
Starting with your own.
Call 1-800-RED-CROSS or visit redcross.org to learn about life-changing opportunities in your area.
See you next time, Dr. Carter. All right, Mr. Stewart. Keep taking your pills.
Mr. Stewart is one of my patients, a smart one. He's at risk for kidney disease, so he gets simple testing done, because kidney disease doesn't have warning signs. But if you have diabetes or high blood pressure, or a family member with kidney failure, you're at risk. So get tested, because you have the power to prevent kidney disease.
Sponsored by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, National Institutes of Health, National Kidney Disease Education Program.
The United Independent Compensatory Code System Concept by Neely Fuller is considered as one of the substantial and basic books for understanding and effectively countering racism. Neely Fuller will turn upside down everything you've heard and everything you think you know about racism and how it works. Call area code 202-484-5461. 202-484-5461.
Before the gold, silver, and bronze, it's the red. It's the green and yellow. It's the red, white, and blue. Because at the Olympic Games, it's not the color you go home with that matters. It's the colors you came in. And when colors mean this much, you can only trust them to tide. proud keeper of the red, white, and blue.
Hey, wake up. You can't dream your way into college. There are actual steps you need to take, steps that go beyond just getting good grades. So if you're serious about college, visit knowhowtogo.org today. Brought to you by the American Council on Education, Lumina Foundation for Education, and the Ad Council.
We've got the power.
Justice is better than racism.
This is the compensatory concept, heard exclusively on TalkTainmentRadio.com. I'm Brother Kahari, sitting in every week with Mr. Neely Fuller Jr., the author of two of the classic, what we call the classic definitive works on racism, global racism, and how it works. And these terms that Mr. Fuller is talking about, Mr. Fuller was using these when I first met him back in 1975. That's how far back my interaction with Mr. Fuller goes. And he was talking about the global nature of this earth way back in 1975. And that's what attracted me to the philosophy. I read about Dr. Francis Cress Welsing. Then I saw the statement that Mr. Fuller said. And I said, oh, my God, I got to talk to this guy. So we were able to bring him into Dayton, and he lectured, and from then on, man, it's just been phenomenal. So, but I would say this, Earth, it works in a lot of capacities to help and work with people, and so do I. And sometimes we get frustrated, Mr. Fuller, because we work hard to put information out to help people understand, but it seems like people just don't come around, just don't get it. Like any folk would. It seems like the Chinese get it. It seems like the Koreans get it. The so-called Latinos get it, and a host of other people are getting it. The only problem is it just doesn't seem like black people are getting it. We can be so easily sidetracked, so easily fooled by things, and things that are put in front of us to make us think something is that it isn't. So how do we cope with this, Mr. Fuller? What are the best strategies for people who are on the front line, working, educating, trying to develop proper things? How do we cope with this, Mr. Fuller?
We started out the program every week. We start out the program with a quotation that's right in the front of both of the books that I have. If you do not understand white supremacy, which is racism, what it is and how it works, everything else that you understand will confuse you. And any person who is confused, if an ant is confused, an ant in a jar, confused about the nature of the jar, that ant will not be able to get out of that jar. And black people have to understand the system that dominates everybody's actions on the entire planet.
Mr. Fuller,
that system is called the system of racism, meaning dominating and mistreating people based on color.
Now, Mr. Fuller, let's go a little bit more elementary. Give me a definition and show me examples of what you mean by the term confusion.
Confusion means you don't know what to do. You're in a situation. You're walking down the street. Like black people, we kind of look blank. You can even see it in our eyes. Like we're walking down the street. And black people, just out of habit, because we have always been herded like cattle, if you ever notice, black people have a tendency to gravitate toward wherever they see other black people. Now, it's not that anything is going on over there. It's just a crowd of black people standing around. The crowd of black people themselves are just standing around waiting on some kind of miracle to happen.
Yeah.
See what I mean? But a black person walking down the street. Now, just notice it. You've probably done it yourself, because I have. I'm just walking down a city street, maybe a strange city. But then I see a crowd of black people over there, 2 blocks away. So now, okay. All right. I see some people. And from this distance, it kind of look like, yes, they are. Those are black people. I'm in a strange city now. So I'm going toward those black people. Now, what are they doing? I don't know. Doesn't matter. There are some black people over there. I'm going toward them. Why am I going toward them? Because that's all I know to do. We have always been herded. We've been herded onto ships like cattle. We have always been herded into certain sections of every city. So out of habit, black people gravitate toward other black people. Now, in the process of me going 3 blocks so I can get over there to where those other black people are without even knowing why I'm going, except they're there, I'm passing by
TalkTameRadio.com. Food for thought.
I'm passing by all kinds of things going on. Maybe I pass 200 white people as individuals coming toward me even as I walk toward the black people. I don't even see the white people at all. I'm focused on the black people. But among those white people, not all, but among those white people are white supremacists. And these are the people who are running the entire world. But I'm passing right by them. I'm not stopping and asking them nothing. Because I see some black people 3 blocks away, and I got to get over there. Now, once I get there, what do? Stand there and look at them. Because I find that what they're doing is just standing there looking at each other. Waiting on what? Waiting on those white people that I passed
to tell us what
to come and tell them what to do.
Is that what you mean by confusion?
Hey, we're like cattle. We're like sheep. We're just out there in a field, just standing around, milling around, baa, moo, waiting on what? The sheep herder, the master. It's the master that comes over the hill and says, all right, okay, this way, boys and girls, this way, boys and gals, this way, sheep, this way, cattle, chickens over here, masters.
So
because we don't have a plan of our own, because we don't even know what plan to have. And and we have to understand that we are like that and stop bragging about not being like that. That is one of our biggest mistakes. The first thing that a general in an army wants to know is how weak he or she is. Not how strong, because the strength will take care of itself when you find out how weak you are. The first thing that you want to know when you go to a doctor is what are the ailments. The good stuff will take care of itself. And we need to doctor ourselves by, first of all, looking at our flaws. But the white supremacists, about 40 years ago, when black people started talking about black power and civil rights and all like that, the white supremacists looked at what we were doing, and they said, oh, these people are now getting volatile, and they'll begin to wake up, but they don't have any direction. They don't really know what they want, except they don't like it the way it is. So what I'll do, since they are talking about blackness and all like that, I will steer that whole thing without them even knowing it. They say that they want to study their history. Okay, all right. Now we've gotten something we can work with. The black people, you checked, and you found out that the black people, first of all, want to study their history. All right. I'll let them study their history. Not only that, I'll help them. But I'm going to decide what they can use it for. And since they have such low egos, which they would have because I've stomped them into the ground, they don't have anything to be proud of, so they'll be looking for black pride. And I'll say, okay, you can take pride in your ancestors. And that's what I will let you study. I'll let you study the pyramids. I'll let you beat on drums. I'll let you do the dances that your ancient people used to do.
Have costume parties.
Yeah, costume parties. I'll let you wear. How much kente cloth do you need? I got bales of it. All right, Yes, and I'll let you shake on tambourines just like I used to do when I had you in chains. I'll let you go down by the river on your day off and shake your tambourines, and laugh and talk and whatnot. I'll let you do all that and be proud of yourselves. We had proud slaves, lots of them. What's the difference between a dignified slave and a silly one?
Mm-hmm.
The answer is one is dignified and one is silly. But they're still slaves.
That's right.
All right? See, so that's what we got right today. Dignified slaves and silly slaves.
Massive
but they're
confusion.
both slaves.
You're saying massive confusion.
Massive confusion.
Now, how do we get an understanding? You know, that classic
We
statement.
get to understand it.
Yeah.
I'm going to answer that right straight up front. We get to understand it by saying just what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
Just tell the truth about what our condition really is and stop being phony. Stop being phony about our condition. Black males talking about they're the head of the household.
Mm-hmm.
We have never been the head of nothing since we have come under the system of white supremacy. How can you be the head of a so-called household when the house that you are holding and the house that you are in and all of the people in the house, including myself, are under the white supremacists?
Right.
People who are hostile to me based on color. I'm not the head of anything. It's impossible for me to be the head of anything. So what does that mean functionally? The black male is not supposed to try to dictate to the black female.
Right.
Get that out of our heads. We are people right on the slave ship. She is chained to me, and I'm chained to her, and we're both naked.
And you can't.
And we both have the same boss.
Right.
And that boss is white.
And it also takes away from the man trying to be a father because you don't
It's
have
out of the
those
question.
rights.
That's impossible.
That's impossible. You don't have those rights, and then you got the woman taking him down for child support and kicking him while he's down. What I'm seeing, Mr. Fuller, is that we turn the men over to the system. We turn our black brothers over to the system, and I'm having a real problem with that.
But actually, you don't. It looks like you're doing that.
Mm-hmm.
But they are already in the system. We are all born in the system.
Okay.
This is what has to be cemented in our heads.
But why we got to open the door for him?
What's the question?
Why do we have to open the door and usher him in when the child support whole that whole system? You know, that's a whole nother system, and it doesn't make any sense to me.
You just pointed out that the entire system is set up by the white supremacists. That's all they've given you to work with.
I got to keep remembering that.
Yeah, see, so what you do is say, okay, if you're not going to, everything that we get from the white supremacists. That's what we have to keep in mind. Our so-called education and everything, our degrees when we get them, when they allow us to have them. And they're making that more and more difficult.
Mm-hmm.
See, because when black people start saying, well, you know, what we need is education.
Mm-hmm.
We need to get into these schools. So what did the white supremacists do? They say, oh, there was a time when they didn't want to go to school, so I didn't have to worry about them. All right? Now they want to go to school. So what I'll do, I'll just make it difficult for them to get into schools. How will I do that? By making it costly. I know how much money I pay them, and that little bit that I pay them will not get them into no college.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'll guarantee that they will not have enough money to get into my colleges. And so when they come to the colleges, I'll say, I'm willing to let you in. I'm not keeping you out like I used to. I used to keep you out of these schools where you really get some education, you know, and you fought about that for years, but now I let you in. But now, in order to get in, you got to pay. Now, where do you get the money? You get the money from me. Well, how much money? Well, more than I'm going to give you. See, so we're right back where we started from. See, it's always them. We started off with this program talking about crime.
Mm-hmm.
See, they are the master criminals. They know how a criminal operation works. It's like the roulette wheel. You're going to always lose, even when you think you're winning. You stay there long enough, you're going to lose. They'll let you win every now and then just to let you get back into the system.
Mm-hmm.
All right?
So
How do you combat that? Just by telling them. See, truth, they say, conquers all. So we need to just say, this is what you're doing. Even if we don't know what to do about it at the moment, this is what you're doing. I mean, let's stop shamming. We're all playing games, but we all understand the game that we're playing. So, you know, until we figure out what to do, and that's the first step. The first step toward knowing that somebody is running a game on you is to know the game that's being run
on you.
Right.
And then
you say it. That's the first step. because what the white supremacists don't know, because they operate on the basis of deceit, is that if you expose the deception, you are already in the first stage of eliminating the game itself.
And Mr. Fuller, you have a book out, The Word Guide, that uses or puts up front many of the words of effective deceit. And I want to thank you, and Earth, I want to thank you for joining us. I want to thank you, Mr. Fuller, because what you've done historically is set in motion a whole different analysis, contrary to the analysis that we've always used. And it allows us to go in and look at things very differently, and I think target what's going on, because these things continue. No matter what we do, we still see the same old usual suspects, and it doesn't change. So apparently that analysis that you're working on must have a whole lot of validity. And I want to thank you for the work that you've done all these years. Earth, I want to thank you for your up and coming and your brilliant work that you're going to do for us in the future. Mr. Fuller, thank you very much for being on Compensatory Concept.
Thank you for inviting me.